Kathy Young here from the Upstream home located in Buena Vista, Colorado, way up in the Rocky Mountains. I'm excited to be with you guys today. We're going to be working on this table. This is a very small coffee table, or you could of course use it as an accent table. The height of it lends itself to a coffee table. So that's kind of my vision for this piece. And we're going to be staining the top using Curio. You guys may have seen, hi Luann, thanks guys for jumping on. You guys may have seen one of my other projects that I've done using Curio is a stain. Today we're gonna do a little bit more of a translucent finish. The reason I love using Curio as a stain is because one, it is such a pretty brown. Have you guys ever tried to like find a stain that you love and you're like, all of these like kind of have a little bit of like an orangish reddish tint, and I do not prefer that. So one of the reasons I love Curio as a stain is because it is a really beautiful, deep, true brown. The other reason I love using Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint as a stain is because it doesn't have chemicals. Like there's not all the gross fumes and yeah, just all the chemicals that come with your traditional stain. So I want to encourage you guys, if you have not tried this technique before, give it a try. This is a very similar technique you would use with like whitewashing. If I wanted to whitewash this top, I would do a pretty similar technique with that. And here's something new I'm trying today. I have not used this exact recipe for a stain before. So if you're following me over on Instagram or even here on Facebook already, you'll know that I already shared a little bit about this. I'm using a very fancy, this is like very convicting, right? I'm like, oh, there I am. And yeah, you'll see that I already shared a little bit about what I'm using for this recipe. So I am using Curio, of course, right? We already talked about that. Hi, Morgan. And I added a little bit of Farmhouse white. I wanted this to be a little bit lighter of a stain than I had used on the other pieces. If you're not following me on Instagram or Facebook, go find me there. I'm at the Upstream home there as well. And I posted a couple pictures of two other pieces that I've used this technique with. So that'll give you an idea. It really is the best, right? It'll give you an idea of kind of the different finishes that you can get with this look. So, truth be told, yesterday I started painting this coffee table and I had like 20 minutes till I had to get my kids from school, and I was like, I think I can like finish this, like paint the base and stain the top. Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm gonna talk about why I chose Farmhouse white. Thanks for saying that. That reminds me about that. And so I was like real quick to it. I was like, it's a small piece. Like, surely I can paint this in 20 minutes, right? Feels a little crazy, but I was up for trying. And I need to secure the top on this still, obviously, but it's really easy to paint without it secured. So I'm gonna leave it like this for now. So I painted the base real quick, got 2 coats on it, super quick. And then I was like, oh, I think I can do the top. And I started here, and then I was like, oh wait, I'm supposed to do that tomorrow for my live. So I stopped myself after this little strip, and I was like, okay, I'll wait till tomorrow to finish it. So thank you guys for joining me to finish painting this. The reason why I chose, okay, so here's my recipe. I have a tablespoon of Curio, a 1/4 cup of water, and like a teaspoon of Farmhouse white. And the reason I chose Farmhouse white to mix with this, I could have chosen anything, right? I chose Farmhouse white because this is Farmhouse white, so I wanted it, if it did, I wasn't totally sure what was gonna happen because I haven't done this before. Like just mixed my own stain. And so I was like, I want, if it goes lighter, to kind of stay in the same family, like the same tones of white, if you will, as the base. And so that's why I went with Farmhouse white. Some of the other whites are a little bit more creamier. They might be a little bit more yellow. And I just wanted it to complement the base of this. So that's why I chose Farmhouse white. There's no really rhyme or reason, scientific reason, but that was my thinking. So again, a tablespoon of Curio, a 1/4 cup of water. So you can see that that is not the same ratio. I have a lot more water in this than I would if I were painting. And then just a dash, or if you were like, I need a recipe, then a teaspoon of Farmhouse white. Any of you guys like that? My husband helps sometimes with like cooking, and I'll be like, just put a little bit. And he's like, how much is a little bit? I'm like, I don't know, a little bit. And he's like a teaspoon, like a 1/4 cup. I'm like, okay, fine. So for those of you who need to know what a little bit is, start with a teaspoon. And then I did use the wonderful Milk Mix Easy too, to just get it to all mix together well. Okay, so here we go. This is not going to take long because this really is a small space, but I hope you guys watch this and then you feel inspired to try this at home, because this is a super easy technique. Again, I love it because I don't have like all the nasty chemicals that come with stain, and it's a really, really pretty brown. So the bottom, of course, is already painted. I'm going to be really careful not to splatter on it. We'll see how I do with that. I'm going really, really light on my paintbrush. You can see it's not like the paint is not dripping off. A little bit goes a long ways. Hi, Shannon. Thanks, guys, for joining. If you have any questions about this process, please ask them. I'm glad to answer. If you're watching this back after the live, same story, like leave your questions in the comments and we will certainly get back to you. Okay. Also, let us know where you guys are joining from. I know it's 3 o'clock on the East Coast. I was like, oh, this is carpool time for some people. Maybe someone's watching from getting their kiddos from school. Okay, so you can see it's a nice, pretty brown. And I want it to be a little bit lighter, so I'm actually just gonna come right back over and wipe it off. So that's how much is coming off. So not a lot is coming off, not a lot is going on. But you guys can you see that contrast there? And I'm just gonna keep moving around. So I'm not letting it sit and soak for a long time. It doesn't need to do that. Just dabbing a little bit of paint in here. Trying to stay out of the camera away so you guys can see what's going on here. You're in Washington. Shannon, how is it over there? Is it, do you guys have cold weather yet, or is it still beautiful? I'm here in Colorado, in Buena Vista, which is like 8,000 feet in the Rocky Mountains, and it is so pretty. Our summer just keeps going on, and I am so here for it because I am a summer girl. I do not tend to love the winters. So hopefully you're having beautiful weather over that way too. Okay, what color is that? This is Curio from Mustard Seeds Milk Paint. And I was just saying that it's a tablespoon of Curio, a 1/4 cup of water, and a teaspoon of Farmhouse white. I just wanted to lighten it a little bit. So that's what I went with. I am totally fine with this having like an antique vintage farmhouse look. I've distressed the base already. I haven't waxed it yet. But I love a weathered piece of furniture. I just think it has so much character. And things in my house don't tend to stay nice and neat anyways, right? Like we have 3 children and I always say like we're raising babies, we're not raising furniture. And so I just tend to embrace the character that comes with older vintage pieces, and prefer the distressing because I'm like, we're gonna get there anyways. Might as well just start off that way, right? So that's what color I'm using, Curio and Farmhouse white. 30 degrees, yikes. Morgan, that is no bueno. 80, that's what I'm talking about. I definitely, yeah, it's really warm here in this window. Actually, I had the window open earlier. If you saw my Instagram stories, you know that I was like, there's a wasp. I keep having wasp come in, and so I'm trying to leave the window shut, but it's so warm in this corner with the natural light that it's getting quite warm back here. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about what I did to this tabletop before I started staining it. So this is raw wood. It was obviously like a finished oak table, and I decided to strip it, and I sanded it down. I don't prefer to use chemical strippers just because I don't like the chemicals. And so I tend to just sand any finishes off, and so that's what I did. I sanded this off, honestly, quite a while ago, and then just made sure all the sawdust was off of it really well. Of course, I cleaned it before I sanded it so that I wasn't pushing any oils or grease into the wood. Instead, I was taking it off of the wood. I'm gonna have to step back in a second and see how this is looking. And then I sanded it, And then here I'm at. This is beautiful. Thank you. I'm super excited about this. If you guys are you guys painting as a hobby or as a business? Tell me that. I'm curious about that. One of the things I was going to mention is one of the reasons I have kind of been gravitating towards like smaller pieces is because they ship easily, right? So I ship my furniture coast to coast, and shipping prices have gone up with everything else, of course. And so I've been trying to like steer towards, smaller pieces that ship well. And I was like, this one will fit so easily in a box. Lily Field says, as a business. Are you shipping? Is your name Lily as well? I'm assuming. Are you shipping or are you selling locally? And how has shipping been for you recently if you are? Okay, so I did all around here. I'm going to let it dry. As always, Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint dries very quickly, which is why I was able to get 2 coats. Can you guys see this? Yes. 2 coats on the base yesterday. In those 20 minutes I had before I had to go get my kiddos from school. I was like, this feels ridiculous to try to paint this whole thing in 20 minutes. But I was like, I really think I can. And then I remembered to wait for you guys. So thanks for joining me today here. It's way more fun painting with you guys. That is for sure. So I wish I had a business, but I'm learning. I love milk paint. Shannon, okay, keep going with it, sister. Keep learning, keep painting stuff around your house. And yeah, let us know. Here's the thing. Okay, there's another Facebook group called Move Mountains. Chris, I think you're here with us. Chris, is that you with the Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint team? I wasn't sure if you were able to make it today or not, so I'm not sure who's behind the name there. But there's another page called Move Mountains that talks a lot more about like the business side of things. So that would be a great resource for you as you're getting started. And then find a couple of folks who are already doing it. Like go find me over on Facebook at the Upstream Home and just kind of watch what I'm doing. Follow Morgan. Morgan's here with, help me remember, Morgan Revital Furniture Co. Is that what your Instagram handle is? She is doing amazing work in shipping, and so just find a couple folks who are just a little bit further down the road than you are, and just start watching like what they're doing, what's working for them, what's not working for them. Of course, like your business isn't going to be a replica of someone else's because you're going to build a business that works for you. But seeing other people do it successfully is surely encouraging and inspiring, and will give you Revival's Furniture Code. Yes. Give you lots of great ideas and remind you in those moments when you're like, can I do this? That you really can. So go follow a couple folks who are doing a great job already. There are lots of ladies here in this group who are painting furniture professionally and are paying their bills doing it. So whether you're looking to do it as like a side hustle or for full-time business, there are lots of options, right? So maybe for you, you're just like, I would love to like just have a little extra spending cash or be able to afford another soccer lesson for my kiddos or whatever it is. But I would just encourage you to take a look at how other folks are doing it and just get started, right? That was one thing I was thinking about when I was like mixing up this stain today, is I was like, I really don't know if this is going to work or not. And I was like, what are the things that we could just like decide we're going to try? I was like, I'm just going to try making this stain. Okay. I want to keep going on the other half of this table. And then I'm going to show you what's happening here on the side. So that when it happens to you, you don't freak out. Okay. Here's the thing. This is what I tell my girls. My daughters paint with me often. They both painted a piece with me this summer, which was really fun. One of my girls painted a beautiful blue like toy chest or bench with like a lift seat. You could use it both ways. Yes, you're so welcome, Shannon. And I just shipped that to Florida last week. Someone bought that online. And I just mailed that off. And she is 7. And she literally painted it start to finish by herself. My daughter Mason is a little bit older. She's in middle school, and she has also done furniture is completely start to finish by herself, like cleaned, sanded, painted, waxed, staged, and sold. And so that's really fun to like watch them learn how to do this too. And I'm like, if they can do it, surely any of you can do it, right? It's just a matter of fact, or just a matter of having the right tools, and a lot of the tools that you're gonna need are here, or people in this group have them. So just hang close, pay attention to what other people are doing, and learn from what people are doing instead of trying to like recreate it yourself, right? Maybe I should open a course on this. I always have thought it would be fun to have one. Okay. Oh, this is pretty. Can you guys see the contrast here? Like, I just love how this color is like deepening this wood. It's not red, which I told you at the very beginning, I do not like the red stains. I'm like, no. And that's why I just keep coming back to Curio, is because it's like such a beautiful brown. And you're like, I don't know, if you're like me, you don't love brown furniture. That's why we paint furniture, right? But I do appreciate like a stained top and the contrast that gives with a really natural base. Also, when you go find Morgan Revival Furniture, gosh, is that right, Morgan? I'm saying it wrong again, aren't I? Revival's Furniture. You'll see that she uses brown a lot in some of her paintings, right, Morgan? Is that right? With your cows and stuff? I feel like I see Curio there too. So there's certainly a lot of ways to use this. My favorite way to use Curio is as a stain. Again, this one I added a little bit of Farmhouse white too, to just kind of soften it a bit. I probably could have added a little bit more. Thank you. Yes, I'm loving how this is turning out. I'm excited to see when it's all done how we're looking. Yesterday I had put a poll up on my Instagram if I should paint this like a dark base and a dark top, or like a white base and a lighter top. I'm going for a more natural top, and obviously the white base, because it's such a small piece and because I see it being used as a coffee table. I'm like, I just feel like it might disappear in the room if I were to have painted the base black. If I was going to market it more as like a plant stand or an accent table, then I would have a few more options. But I'm like, I really think this little cutie needs to be in the center of someone's living room, and I think they should be able to see it, not like trip over it. So we're gonna go white. So it's nice and light. And I'm guessing if it's going into a living room, based on its scale, it's going to be a smaller living room. So I wanted it to have just like some brighter colors to make the space feel bigger, right? So yeah, that's how I did that. Lots of Curio. It pairs so well with both cool and warm tones. Yes, it really does. Like such a, gosh, I almost want to say like, is this just an extension of like the natural, neutral options that are in the Miss Mustard Seed line? It might be. It's just so easy to work with. Okay, and then you can just see I have like a pretty frayed brush at this point, and I'm just using kind of the excess that's on my brush to come hit these edges because I don't want it all drippy. I might need a little bit more paint, but you get the idea. A tiny bit of paint. I still have paint left in here, you guys, and I started with a 1/4 cup of water. So a little bit goes a long ways. If I was doing a second coat, which I honestly might do depending on how this dries and if it's even, I feel like I was a little more heavy-handed on this side, which is fine because everything's fixable, right? But I might either just add more water to that, or I might make a little bit more paint. I have options, so we'll see. I'm gonna grab a new, this is starting to get a little bit like smudgy because it's wet, so I'm just gonna grab a new paper towel. And I love the blue shop towels because they just are more durable than like your traditional kitchen paper towels. So I like to use the shop towels for really everything in my shop that I'm doing. Okay, I missed once. Oh, I missed a couple spots there. That was probably when I was being all chatty. Okay. Just gonna come back and hit those real easily and quickly. You guys, this is so pretty. Okay, this is really fun. I used Artissimo. Ooh, that would be really fun. I do love Artissimo. It's such a pretty blue. I think that's now, is that the one now called Ink Blue, I believe? Let me think. The desk I painted, or the desk that I stained with the Curio top, I painted the bottom in ink blue, and it is a beautiful contrast. So be sure to check that out over on my Instagram. You can see that. It's in my stories. I just shared it there today. So, okay. Hold on. Let me do this without spilling the paint that I have left, just so you guys can kind of see where we're at. So I can handle it. That's how it's like. The side's still a little tacky wet, but the side's like very dry. How pretty is that, you guys? This is like a really pretty stain. I just am so happy with how this is turning out. And the thing I wanted to show you on the side here is that like in your cracks, and so I need to come back and hit that a little bit, but that's okay. In these little like nooks and crannies that you might have from like natural distressing, over time, like the stain might not settle in there as much, or it might settle in there more. Either way, my encouragement would just be to embrace it. Like, just embrace the look of it, embrace like the variation that it offers and the character that it offers to the piece. I wouldn't get all wrapped up about making sure that you hit every single spot. I think just like embrace what it has to offer. So, okay, yes. You got lots more projects there to check out on YouTube. There is so much information here in the Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint Facebook group as well. And if you guys have any questions about this particular project, by all means, just drop them here in the comments, or you can go find me on Facebook or Instagram at The Upstream Hem, and I'd be glad to help you with any questions there as well. Thank you guys so much for joining. This is going to be the blog post, or this will be a blog post in a few days, so stay tuned. If you're not on the email list already for Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint, make sure that you jump on there. We'll drop a link in the comments for that, and that way you guys will know when this is all done and you have a tutorial right at your fingertips. So thanks for joining. Have a great day. Thank you guys for just hanging out with me. There's a wasp. Figures. All right, bye y'all.